In the realm of weight loss, running often takes the spotlight as the go-to exercise for burning calories and shedding pounds. But for long-term weight loss success, walking is far superior to running. Do you hate running? Well, great news, because you never have to go running again, and I'll explain why. First off, obviously, if you're looking for stamina and endurance, athletic performance, running is going to be better. So let's put that aside for a moment. Now, running does require the body to burn more calories because it's more strenuous. Your body needs more energy to do it. If you do 30 minutes of walking versus 30 minutes of running, you will burn more calories running, but not by as much as people think. Running burns about 25% more calories over the exact same distance. As an example, let's say I walk to the shop and back, and it takes 20 minutes. I would burn about 100 calories doing that. Next day, I run to the shop and back. It takes half the time, 10 minutes. I'd burn about 125 calories doing that. It's just a rough example to show you that the calorie burning benefits of walking and running aren't as far apart as you might think. So running does burn more calories, albeit only about 25% more, but the benefits of walking still far outweigh those of running. Here are some negatives about running. Most people don't know how to run. And I don't mean most people can't run, I mean most people don't run properly. Running's a skill, and most people stop running when they're young adults or teenagers or even before that. And as I said, a lot of people get fixated on running when trying to lose weight. So they lace up their running shoes, even though it's been 5, 10, 15 years since they last ran seriously, and their form and technique is off. And they have all these muscle imbalances they're probably not aware of. And then they run to fatigue. One of the worst things you can do for your form or technique, if it's already bad, is to do it to fatigue. And it's no wonder why running is the #1 activity that causes injuries. Bad technique is going to impact your joints massively. And with that repetitive stress, it really adds up. And over time, can even lead to conditions like arthritis. Theoretically, if someone runs every day, great. But it's not a smart strategy for the majority of people. It's not a long-term strategy. It requires a lot of effort, working, coaching to get good at running if you're not someone that's been running consistently since you were young, which is essentially what's required to maintain the skill. Now, to be clear, humans did evolve to run and were amazing runners when executed properly, but we lose that skill if it's not used and few people treat it like a skill. People run past me all the time on the street and I can see that bad technique. The pronation here, really bad supination there, anterior pelvic tilt, this guy's shoulders are way too forward. I could picture all these injuries. And then there's this rare runner who runs by me that looks like a gazelle. And I know that runner has been running for years and years already, if not their entire life. It's a skill, and there's a long learning curve if you haven't run consistently well for years. It's going to take you a good year of practice, of skill acquisition, of correcting muscle imbalances and mobility work to be able to do it correctly. Walking doesn't require that. Most people have not forgotten how to walk. Most people still walk every single day. So if someone goes to walk for activity, we're not so worried about form, technique, balance, muscle imbalances. With running, you're going to build more endurance, more stamina, more athletic performance, which is fine if that's what you're looking for. But most people just want to lose weight, have good health, to not have any pain. Another drawback is that if you run in the evening, it really gets your adrenaline surging and your heart rate pumping, which takes a while to settle back down again to normal levels. It also raises your core body temperature, which takes a while to settle down again. All this means that it can be difficult to fall asleep if your body is still pumping from the high intensity exercise. Often you might find yourself lying in bed, tossing and turning, unable to drift off because of it. Here's another drawback of running. You typically need to put on some workout clothes, right? You're going to sweat. It's not something you could just do in the middle of the day and then go straight to a meeting. Walking is extremely convenient. You can do it at any time of the day. Don't need to change clothes, you go out, you walk, you come back, super easy. Far easier to inject into your everyday life, and this plays a huge role in long-term consistency. By far, the biggest factor with consistency is how easy can it be injected into your everyday life. And it's easy to do a 10 to 15 minute walk after breakfast, then after lunch, and maybe after your dinner, which comes out to 30 or 40 minutes of extra activity. Not as easy to go do a 15-minute run after breakfast, lunch and dinner, especially if you're at work or have children to mind or other obligations. When people wanting to lose weight come out all guns blazing, determined to go running every day, chances are high that they'll burn out fast. Happens all the time. But if you start with easy habits, those habits are much more likely to stick. It applies to real life many times, not just with exercise. A lot of times we ride off the motivation and the energy and the hype when starting something new, and we make our short-term decision based off of that current state that we're in. And theoretically, you're thinking, yeah, I'm going to run 3 or 4 days a week or every day, and that's going to get me to my goal. And maybe the first couple of weeks you stick to it. But then life hits you, and suddenly the sustainability of that is just unrealistic. It's sustainable for people who genuinely love running. But that's not me for one, and from my experience, that's not most people. So if you love to run, great. If you enjoy running and it's therapeutic for you and you're a good runner with good mechanics and you're not suffering from chronic pain or inflammation, I'm not talking to you. Keep doing it. You do not need to do any other exercise. But if you do other forms of exercise that you love, absolutely keep it up. Be aware though, intense physical activity like running can be a little problematic when your goal is to lose weight. Intense exercise can wreck the body, leaving you exhausted for the rest of the day and even the days afterwards. The body requires more time and resources to recover fully. It takes a lot to recover from intense exercise. This has a further very bad knock-on effect. Your body will end up far hungrier and you will crave food far more intensely as your body tries to recover. This is a really bad situation to put yourself in when trying to lose weight. You're leaving yourself far more open to eating more and even binge eating after intensive exercise. This is why going running or going to spin class might sound great, but you are leaving yourself vulnerable to eating more food and hence actual weight gain on these days. So maybe you'll burn 300 or 400 calories doing an hour of intensive exercise, but then you're far more likely to give in to your appetite and eat back 700 or 800 calories. Also, the impact from intensive exercise on joints and muscles can leave you sore and inflamed and fatigued for days afterwards, meaning it's far harder to motivate yourself to do these exercises again in the subsequent days. You're so wrecked you just want to rest and eat. Not to mention, intensive exercise is also mentally tougher to get through, again, leaving you less likely to want to return to these exercises in the subsequent days. Walking is a low-intensity exercise and so will not require as much recovery from the body. It will not leave you feeling exhausted and flattened for the rest of the day. As a result, will not impact your hunger levels and leave you craving food later in the day. Psychologically, it leaves you far more open to repeating the exercise day after day without experiencing excessive fatigue or discomfort. And yet, walking burns a tremendous amount of calories, almost as much as intensive activities. If you don't love running, if you don't love going to the gym, then your only exercise that you need ever worry about is walking. You don't need to run to lose weight. You don't need to go to the gym. If you love playing tennis or going to the gym or going running, great, keep it up. But you never have to run again in your life if you don't want to. I'll say it again. You do not have to ever run. You don't need to do killer exercises. Walking is good enough. If you walk consistently every single day versus a spotty record with running, it's going to be far, far more effective long term. I'll say this, make sure you have comfortable shoes when walking. Running shoes are great. You don't need to wear them for running, but generally they are the most comfortable footwear for walking. Or any shoes at all will do as long as they're comfortable. Also, something a lot of people overlook is their socks. They are just as important. If your socks are ancient and rough against the soles of your feet or against your heels, then it will hinder your comfort greatly while walking. If your feet hurt while walking, make sure it's not your socks causing the problem before you blame your footwear or any bodily malfunctions. The main benefit of walking that far outweighs any other exercise is that it is so accessible and so easy to do compared to other exercises. Walking requires the least mental resistance to begin. Instead of thinking about big goals, think about little ones. Gateway habits, remember? Condense your habit into a 1-minute version. Don't worry about spending 2 hours on exercise. Don't worry about going for an hour walk. Condense it right down. The gateway habit to exercise is simply putting on your shoes for walking. Don't think about anything else. Just think about the 1 minute it takes to put on your shoes. Gateway habits naturally lead you down a more productive path. Make it easy to start and the rest will follow. Gateway habits can be completed in even a few seconds, but can continue to impact your behavior for a long time afterwards. Exercise will become a habit if you can do it every day, and you will do it every day if it's easy to start. Like any habit, it may be difficult to keep up in the beginning, but the more you do it, the more it becomes automatic. So don't worry about going for big long walks, don't worry about the distance, concentrate on just doing it every day, even if it's just a few minutes. Put on your shoes and go for a walk. What is habit formation? Habit formation refers to the gradual automation of a behavior through repeated practice. As you consistently engage in an activity, your brain undergoes structural changes to streamline the execution of that behavior, making it more efficient at that activity over time. In the beginning, a habit requires a good deal of effort and concentration to perform. After a few repetitions, it gets easier, but still requires a little bit of conscious attention. With enough practice, the habit becomes more automatic than conscious. Personally, I never used to go for a walk. Never. The thought was alien to me once upon a time. But I built that habit. I went every day, and now, years later, years of just going out for, at the very least, a few minutes walk, it now feels strange to me if I don't get a walk in at some point in the day. My brain has rewired. I reached a threshold at some point, the habit threshold, where the behavior can be done more or less without thinking. When you get past that threshold, that's when a habit is formed. So make it easy on yourself. 1 minute rule, just put on your shoes. Once your shoes are on, you're more likely to step outside. Once you step outside, you're more likely to get some steps in. You'd be so surprised how quickly your mindset changes when you get your shoes on. It's a psychological shift. Then, simply stepping outside is another psychological shift. Once you're out there, you know you only have to walk the bare minimum, a few minutes. If you want to keep going, great. But your goal for now is just making it a habit. It's the frequency that matters when trying to start a new habit. How often you do it, not how long you do it for. That means that going out every day for a short walk will be far more beneficial to you than going out once a week for a big long walk. If you go out every day, the behavior becomes firmly embedded in your mind and you will eventually cross that habit threshold. So try and get out every day, even if it's just a tiny walk. You don't feel like it? Just put on your shoes. Your gateway habit may well naturally lead you down a more productive path. Rather than trying to engineer a perfect habit from the beginning, do the little easy things on a more consistent basis. Make it easy to start and the rest will follow. Walking is so accessible and easy to start. Men and women of any age, walking is beneficial for everyone. It has the same benefits for all. No planning, no prep, no special expensive equipment, no memberships. The low impact of walking makes it accessible even to those with joint issues or mobility limitations. And it's so much easier to motivate yourself to go for a walk. Pop on your shoes and stroll, even on your worst, most exhausting days. In fact, on those days when your mind is completely fried and you just feel like collapsing on the couch, personally, those are the days when going for a walk really seems to benefit me the most, both my mind and my body. If you're not crazy about walking or it bores you, link it with something you like doing to distract yourself. You're more likely to find a behavior attractive if you tie it in with something you like doing, like listening to a podcast. If you listen to a podcast or audiobook, the time just whizzes by. If you walk with a friend and chat while walking, the time really whizzes by. Because walking is such a simple and accessible exercise, it encourages social interaction and engagement. If you regularly meet up with a friend for coffee, suggest turning it into a coffee and a walk instead. Or you can catch up with some phone calls you need to make while walking, or just listen to some music, Bundle these things together with your walking and the time will just fly by. As effective as walking is, you could be ruining your weight loss goals by something everyone overlooks: sleep. There's more to it than you think, and it can either ruin your weight loss or massively boost it, but only if you get it right. So watch the video on screen. It's 25 minutes, yet will be far more effective for you than any spin class or low calorie meal. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.